Hey everyone, Apple announced iOS 9 earlier today at WWDC 2015. There's new features and stability improvements all across the board. This is Consumerality. Let's talk iOS 9. iOS 9 will feel very familiar, but Apple hopes the subtle changes will impress users. One of the first things that I think is most interesting is Apple has ditched Newsstand in favor of its own Apple News service. The Apple News app will take content that publishers provide for it and publish it right to iPads and iPhones. Content creators like the New York Times and ESPN and other content publishers that Apple hopes to partner with will be able to play with things like typography, multi-touch gestures, image resizing, and more, and really make an immersive experience for users on iPad and iPhone. A key feature of Apple News is its ability to be personalized. You tell it what kind of articles you like to read and what publishers you want to read from, and it shows this to you, and it learns from what you choose to read what else you'd like to read, and it provides that for you as well. At the same time, Apple wants to ensure your privacy and promises the information that you share in Apple News will not be shared with any other Apple services or any other apps. The service will be available when iOS 9 launches in the fall. The Notes app is another application that received considerable change in iOS 9. While it's not a complete overhaul, there are some new features. For example, you can add drawings, photos, URLs, checklists, and more to make the notes really immersive as opposed to before where it was just a platform where you could put in some text. Additionally, from anywhere in the operating system, if you pull up the share sheet, you'll be able to add things directly to the Notes application. And finally, with iCloud, you can sync all your notes and all your checklists, drawings, photos, and things from apps and more using iCloud, and they'll be available on iPad and Mac. Another app that saw great improvements was the Maps application. As I said in the WWDC predictions video, Maps had faced a lot of criticism for not being a great application. One reason for that was transit directions were not included. Well, in iOS 9, transit directions have been added, and it seems like a lot of thought has been given to them. There'll be integration with bus systems, subway systems, and other forms of public transit, and Apple has really hoped that they've gotten things really specific. In the keynote, they said they've tried to map several entrances and exits to subway systems in hopes of really creating a service that's going to be useful to consumers. Another new feature is called Nearby. It'll allow you to see what's nearby, whether it's restaurants or other venues, and then you can get directions while be it walking, driving, or now turning. A big feature that's come to iPad in iOS 9 is multi-screen applications, but unfortunately these split-screen applications are only going to work with the iPad Air 2 and future iPad models. It's a really cool feature, and although Apple's not the first to do it, and who knows if they'll be the best because we can't really use it yet unless you have an iPad Air 2, it's something that is really going to help Apple make the iPad more useful as it goes from just a tablet to a laptop replacement. Another app that went the way of Newsstand is Passbook, and although all the functionality is still there, the app is now called Wallet. The app is called Wallet because Apple really hopes to replace all the functionality of your wallet within the application. You can now add more credit cards, you can add store credit cards, additionally you can add rewards cards, so that you can use things other than just credit cards within the Wallet application. It's a fully integrated experience, as where before it was kind of broken up and choppy. And of course you could still add passes, things like train tickets and plane tickets, and any other kind of passes that you could add previously, you could still add to the Wallet application. Another service that got the iOS 9 treatment was CarPlay, and well, I'm not going to talk too much about that because, well, not a lot of us have access to it. There's some nice improvements there. It really makes CarPlay more versatile for many other vehicles and screen sizes, so the hope that more auto manufacturers will implement it into their own vehicles and even add back support for the service. Additionally, they have introduced wireless CarPlay syncing, which allows you to use CarPlay wirelessly, presumably over Bluetooth, so that you don't have to connect via USB. Apple has also overhauled the multitasking feature on both iPhone and iPad, and while it functions relatively similarly on devices that don't support split screen like the iPad Air 2, it's a much improved design change and looks much more organized. Apple has made some useful improvements to the keyboard. There's QuickType, so in addition to the predictive text that we got in iOS 8, there's some quick buttons like attach in the Mail application. When you're typing a text document, there's bold and underline and italics, things that really make, again, the iPad and even the iPhone more of a laptop replacement than it was previously. Siri got a design overhaul, and it now matches the colorful design found on the Apple Watch. Apple has also made Siri more featureful by incorporating it with its new service called Proactive. Proactive is Apple's response to Google Now, and Apple hopes that it will answer your questions before you even ask them. Proactive will show you relevant people and their contact information, it'll show you news stories from Apple News, It will show you suggested apps. It'll show you places nearby from the Maps application like restaurants. And the coolest feature, in my opinion, is called suggested apps. Say, hypothetically, every morning you go to the gym, and when you go to the gym you play a certain playlist on your iPhone. Suggested apps will realize that after a certain point in time, and when you return to the gym will automatically queue up your playlist and give you the option to play it without ever opening the music application. Apple really hopes that this will be your personal hub on the iPhone and know everything that you do and everything that you want to do. And to many users that sounds creepy and overbearing, but Apple again promises privacy and will only keep the information locally, and what it sends to Apple to get information will be encrypted and anonymous. They've also promised to make the operating system faster and more responsive and increase battery life by an hour. They've also added a power reserve mode which will turn off certain features but will give you another 3 hours of battery life. A big issue with previous versions of iOS where over-the-air updates were so large, Apple promises that in iOS 9 the size of the update and therefore the speed of the update will be smaller and faster. And finally, Apple's included some new security features, including two-factor authentication when logging into certain services and an option to have a 6-digit passcode when logging into your iPhone or iPad. And that is iOS 9. Again, it will be available for everyone in the fall. It's available for developers right now, and later in July it will be available to the public in the form of a public beta. You can find more information about that at apple.com/beta. iOS 9 will be available to every device that used iOS 8, and with that, Apple is hoping to bring stability improvements to older devices as well to make them more usable in 2015. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe. I'll have more things coming on this channel very soon about WWDC 2015. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.